Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to have a quick look at the nappies that I use, but also showing you how I use those nappies and a little bit about why I use these particular reusable nappies. The nappies that I use are the Bum Genius, and they're just the popper type nappies. So you open them out and they've got the two flaps inside which you can open out. So the back is where the elastic is, the front is where the popper is. So I fold the back bit from the elastic in first, fold the front bit in. You've got to have this seam being on the edge. So you pull it until that seam is the furthest point, and then you've got your nappy made up. And then you can fold it and then put it on baby. So I store my nappies like this, ready made up and ready to go. On the front, as you can see, it's got these poppers. So you've got this one and this one and this one, which you use to adjust the sizes here. And then you've got these ones at the top, which are for fastening. So for newborn, you literally, and you can wash these with the poppers done up, you're just going to join these two. So this popper and this popper both attach onto this one. So this one is going to attach onto there. You're going to do that all along the bottom row, so you've got three poppered up. Now you want to make sure when you do this that you can put your fingers up and like fold the material up inside the nappy. You don't want it to be pointing down, you want it to be pointing up. Anyway, so that is if you're doing it for a newborn. They would have been at 8 to 10 months when I took mine up to the next size. And initially I didn't need to put a liner in still, I just moved the poppers up one row, but then I found that it just wasn't absorbent enough, and every time they weed even a little bit I then needed to change the nappy or it leaked. So I mean, that's just not practical. You do have to get the balance between putting too much in, because you need there to be enough space for the these pads to absorb. Like, they're like a sponge. If you squish them, they're not going to absorb much. But at the same time, you need it to be tight enough that stuff's not going to dribble out the side. So this is what I found works for me. I've got these thick ones, which I only use one of these. I just put one in and I use it if I need the nappy to be dry for sort of, or usable for sort of 2 to 3 hours if I'm pushing it towards the extent of its limit. I have used these and they've been fine for up to 4 hours, but it's basically just, I think, 4 layers of terry toweling stuck together, and they're super absorbent. They feel thick, but they're really absorbent. So I just use those, and when you put a liner in, you do it from the back. So there's the elastic at the back, flip the flap over, line it up with that seam, and then that flap comes down. You line it up and make sure it's all sitting like between the elastic, and then fold the front up. Now when you fold the front up, what you're going to find, here, let me turn around so you can see, it lines up with there. So when you fold the front, you're going to get a fold over at the front. Don't worry about that, because all it means is you're going to have that little extra bit of padding at the very front, which if you've got a boy, you're going to want. And if you've got a girl, it's still quite useful. So don't worry about that, and then you just fold it down just like it was. It's going to be slightly thicker, but then when you do it up, it's going to look basically the same, just a little bit chunkier. You'll feel the difference. If I don't have any of these, because I've only got 3 of these, then I use these, which are cotton microfiber, and I use 2 of those at a time. Just match them up down the sides, make sure they're lined up at one end at least, and exactly the same. Put them in at the back of the nappy, fold the back over, make sure that everything's in between the elastics of the legs, and then fold it back on itself as you fold the front in. So it's like a sandwich. So long as your lining and your fillers are behind this elastic on both sides, you're not going to get leaks from that. If they're poking out, or if these pads are poking out, then it's going to act like a wick and it draws the liquid out, and then that's going to go onto the clothes. So long as everything is contained, like on this raft, this boat, the water is not gonna flood. And for the third size, which is for like toddlers, so it depends when your child actually toilet trains. It's up to you how you do this, but you're just going to layer these as many as you need. You can layer them with these, you can layer just like more of these. Layer it however. I mean, if you've got a big square of terry toweling and just cut it, or even like a bath towel and cut it, that would work as well. You literally just want something that's absorbent, that's going to go in there, it's going to hold it, and the liquid is not, like, it's not thick enough to get squeezed out as they're moving around. So then on the third size, which is like your biggest size, you're just going to have them folded like that. So you're not going to have any poppers done up, obviously, except the ones that fasten at the waist, but these are all going to be undone, and it's just going to be like that. So then when you're going to put it on the baby, you're just going to do it up to whatever point you feel you need to, pop the poppers up, and it's going to look a bit like a swim nappy. Like, you've got your legs coming out here, and you've got their waist coming out the top. So there's a few things to remember when you are using these in any size. That is that the bit that's popped at the front needs to be pointing up. The elastic around the legs, it needs to be tight around the legs. You can't have like gappage. If you can see into the nappy, liquid and like anything that's in the nappy can come out. And you want this to be like skin tight. Not, you don't want it to be constricting anything, you don't want it to be leaving like the red marks or anything. Because it's elastic, you can have it like flush against the skin all the way around, and they've still got space to move. You're probably going to be changing these every 2 hours, maybe 3 or 4 depending on your child. So that's 6 nappies in one day, but we don't always need that. So I use these nappies when we're at home, or if we're just popping out for a short amount of time. I won't use these if I think I'm going to have to do a nappy change while we're out. I don't use them overnight. I use a disposable overnight because I think, because my little one sleeps 12 hours and pretty much has always slept between 10 and 12 hours, I don't want them to be woken up by a wet nappy partway through the night. In the winter, if I don't think I can get these dry, I also don't use them. So these you don't soak because that will ruin the PVC. They do have the washing instructions on the back. So that says that you wash cold, then you wash hot, then you double rinse, and then line dry. Don't use laundry additives. If it doesn't dry within 2 days, you might as well just start from scratch. Like, if it's not dry within 2 days, then it's not going to dry properly. The water is trapped inside. If you can smell anything on them, then you need to wash them. They're obviously not rinsed properly. And if they start losing their absorbency, it might be the PVC's going. But first thing to always do is to strip wash them. So put them through on a cold wash, put them on a hot wash, rinse them until there's absolutely no soap coming out, no bubbles in the machine at all, and then line dry them in the middle part of the day when it's the hottest it can be, and then put them like on an airer about 1 foot, 2 foot away from a radiator, or put them in a room in your house that is warm but not too hot. You want it to then, if it doesn't finish drying on the airer, on the line, to dry really quickly on the air. Now, 2 other things just while we're on this size. If you're using Sudocrem or a barrier cream, you need to use a cotton liner. If you use the disposable or biodegradable or biodegradable or flushable, like, you know, the cotton ones that you can kind of see through in there, they almost look like a mesh. You know the ones I mean. If you use reusable nappies, like, you get them in rolls of like 100 or 40, and you they're perforated so you can tear them off. And if you've got a narrower nappy, you can rip a strip off the side. Yeah, those ones, they won't protect the nappy. And all barrier creams will stain the nappies. You'll get a grey patch in the middle and it won't come out no matter what you do. I've tried everything. I've tried detergents, I've tried like small diluted amounts of bleach, just like scrubbing over it. I've tried strip washing them. I've tried everything. I cannot get the Sudocrem out. And I'm not the only one. I've spoken to other people who I know use them, and they're like, yeah, you just have to use a cotton liner. It won't come out of these. So if you're going to use barrier cream, then make sure you put a cotton liner in. And the second thing to notice is that you must never, ever, ever soak these. If you soak them, it will actually break down the absorbent qualities in them. So yeah, just another fun fact. I only actually use a liner if I think that the child that I've got this nappy on, either they're using Sudocrem, which I tend to use, that's the other reason I use a disposable nappy overnight, because during the day I use these, and then at night time, if they're starting to look a little sore or I notice I've got an nappy rash, I can put a barrier cream on overnight, and by the morning it's pretty much cleared up. And it's normally only once every week or two. I'll use it just for one night and it will be gone, unless like there's obviously been diarrhea or something like that. There we are. Right, so that is the reusable nappies that I use. Now the reason I use these ones and not the Velcro ones I think get a better fit, because you're not like these, you have to do it at this popper or you have to do it at this popper. Like there's no, it's like a difference of an inch. So if you do it on the tighter size, it's going to be an inch smaller around the waist. I get on really well with them, and I've used them, I think it's £8 is the earliest you can use them. I've used them since my little one was about 3 months, and I'm still using the same ones. I've had about 13, I think, all the way through. But the reason I use the popper ones, even though the Velcro ones I think have a better fit, is because I have sensory issues with Velcro. I absolutely hate Velcro, and although I think it gives a better fit, and I think it's more suitable, I mean, my ideal option would be to use a safety pin, simply because it's the next best alternative to Velcro. The thing with Velcro also is you can't put it through with any other clothes because it will attach. Like no matter how much you do the tabs up, it's going to come undone in the washing machine, and it's going to get stuck to stuff. And the Velcro, yeah. For me, it's mainly the sensory issues that stop me using the Velcro, whereas I find that the popper ones do actually work really well, and I find that 13 does me 2 days perfectly well, and I can then make sure that it's dry in order for the next day. It's lovely to be here, and it's lovely to have you all, and I hope that you all have a really good day. Take care, and I will see you next week. Bye!